Tom had never imagined that his life would change so quickly. Just yesterday, he had been walking through the quiet streets of the human settlement on the planet Valora, thinking about the usual things. The sunlight reflected off the glass towers of the city, and he could hear the distant hum of flying vehicles. Life had always been simple for him, and he liked it that way. He liked the calm mornings, the friendly faces, and the small routines that made each day predictable. Then came the announcement. A loud message had echoed through the city from the governor's office. Tom's name was called in a ceremony that would be remembered across the planet. The words had felt unreal. He, an ordinary man, was chosen to marry Nira, an alien woman of the Aryan people. At first, Tom thought it was a mistake. He had heard of alliances before, but he had never imagined that one day he would be a part of one. The Aryans were a proud people. Their tall, elegant forms moved with grace, and their glowing eyes reflected intelligence that humans had never seen. They had come to Valora not as conquerors but as partners. Their arrival had always been a mix of awe and fear. Tom had seen them from a distance, always careful to keep a polite space between human and alien settlements. He had never spoken to one before, and now he was expected to marry one. As he prepared for the ceremony, Tom felt his heart pound. He wore the ceremonial outfit provided by the Human Council. It was simple but formal, designed to honor the occasion without overwhelming him. Still, as he looked at himself in the mirror, he felt small. He wondered if he was ready for this challenge or if he would falter under the weight of expectation. When he arrived at the Aryan Palace, he was struck by its beauty. The structure was vast, with high ceilings and walls that shimmered in soft shades of blue and silver. Light danced across the floors in patterns he had never seen before, as if the building itself was alive. Tom tried to focus on the task ahead, but he could not ignore the feeling that he was entering a world far beyond his understanding. Nira awaited him in the grand hall. She was taller than any human woman, her skin glowing faintly in the soft light. Her hair moved as if it had a life of its own, floating gently around her shoulders. Her eyes, deep and shining, looked directly at Tom. For a moment he felt as if she could see inside him into his thoughts and fears. "Welcome, Tom," Nira said. Her voice was melodic, calm, and confident. "I'm honored to meet you." Tom nodded, unsure of what to say. His words felt small compared to her presence. He realized that she was not just an alien in appearance, but also in the way she carried herself. Every movement was precise, every gesture deliberate. She radiated power and intelligence, and Tom felt both awe and nervousness in her presence. The ceremony began with the joining of hands, a ritual that symbolized trust and unity between humans and Aryans. Tom followed the instructions carefully, trying not to make mistakes. The elders spoke in a language he did not understand, but their tone was ceremonial and commanding. Tom could feel the weight of history in their words, the centuries of human and Aryan interaction leading up to this moment. As the ritual continued, Tom noticed the way Nira's eyes moved. She was observing him closely, studying his reactions. It made him uncomfortable at first, but then he realized that she was not judging him. She was trying to understand him, to connect. That thought gave him a strange sense of comfort. Perhaps he could survive this night, he thought. Perhaps they could find a way to understand each other. After the ceremony, Tom was led to a room where he would spend the night with Nira. The room was unlike any he had seen before. The walls shimmered with soft light, changing colors slowly as if breathing. The furniture was simple but elegant, designed for comfort and function. Tom felt out of place, but he also felt a sense of wonder. Everything about this place was new, and he realized that fear and curiosity were mixing in his mind. Nira entered the room quietly. She did not speak at first. She simply moved toward a window and looked out at the city below. Tom watched her, unsure of how to begin a conversation. Finally, she spoke. "This night is important, Tom," she said softly, "not just for us but for our peoples. I know you may feel uncomfortable. I understand your fear." Tom swallowed hard. I just don't know what to do. I've never done anything like this. I've never been in a situation like this before." Nira smiled faintly. "That is why this is a learning moment. We will learn from each other. That is how trust is built. That is how peace is made strong." Tom nodded slowly. He felt the weight of her words, but also a strange sense of hope. Perhaps this night was not just about duty. Perhaps it was the beginning of something bigger. He could feel the history of their peoples in the room, the unspoken expectation that humans and Aryans could achieve something together. Nira turned to face him fully, her glowing eyes meeting his. "You do not need to fear me, Tom. I will not harm you. I only wish to show you who we are, and to understand who you are." Tom felt a shiver run through him, but it was not fear. It was anticipation. He realized that this night would not be easy, but it could be meaningful. He could feel the presence of something extraordinary in Nira. Her abilities, her understanding, her awareness. It was far beyond anything he had encountered. And yet she was speaking to him with patience and respect, as if he mattered to her. The room grew quiet, filled only with the soft hum of energy from the walls. Tom took a deep breath and stepped closer. He could feel Nira's gaze, steady and calm, and he realized that she was waiting for him to decide how to act. He did not have to understand everything immediately. He only had to begin the journey. "I want to understand," Tom said finally. "I want to learn if you are willing to teach me." Nira nodded. "Then we begin. Together, we will explore what it means to trust, to connect, and to protect each other. That is the way of our peoples. That is the way of the future." For the first time that evening, Tom felt a sense of purpose. The fear that had been building in his chest began to fade, replaced by determination. He would face this night and the nights to come with courage. He would learn from Nira, and perhaps in turn he could teach her about humans. The palace seemed alive around them, filled with silent whispers of history and possibility. Tom realized that this night was only the beginning. The journey would not be simple and the challenges would be many. But he also realized that he was not alone. Nira was with him, and she was powerful, intelligent, and patient. Together they could face whatever the galaxy had to offer. As he lay down to rest, Tom thought about the ceremony, the palace, and Nira's words. He thought about the future, uncertain and full of possibilities. For the first time he felt that he was part of something greater than himself, something that could change the course of human and Aryan history forever. And in the quiet, Tom realized that although he had been forced into this union, it might turn out to be the most important moment of his life. He closed his eyes, ready to face whatever came next, ready to learn, ready to survive, and ready to discover the true strength of humans and their allies among the stars. The morning sunlight spilled into the palace through tall, translucent windows. Tom woke slowly, stretching his arms and taking in the soft colors of the room. The walls seemed to glow faintly, as if the building itself were alive. For a moment he felt disoriented. The night had been long, filled with ceremonies, rituals, and unspoken expectations. He remembered Nira's calm presence and the way her eyes had seemed to understand him without words. He rose from the bed and walked to the window. Below, the city of Valora spread like a living map. The streets gleamed under the morning light and tiny vehicles floated above the ground, moving like silver insects. Humans and Aryans walked side by side in the plazas. Tom marveled at the blend of life, the mix of two very different peoples learning to exist together. He wondered if their forced union could really symbolize something greater. A soft sound behind him made Tom turn. Nira had entered the room quietly, her movements fluid and precise. Her eyes glowed faintly in the morning light. She wore simple ceremonial clothes, and yet she looked striking. There was no trace of arrogance in her expression. She seemed curious, patient, and confident all at once. "Good morning, Tom," Nira said softly. "Did you sleep well?" Tom nodded, trying to find the right words. "I did. It is strange here, but I feel safe." "Thank you." Nira smiled, a small, almost shy gesture. "You are welcome. Safety is important, especially when two peoples must trust each other. Today we will spend time learning about one another. I want to understand humans, and you will learn about Aryans." Tom swallowed. Learning about aliens had always seemed abstract in books or lectures. Now it was personal. He realized that Nira's approach was not about teaching him alien history or technology. It was about connection. She wanted him to see, feel, and understand. They walked through the palace halls together. The floors reflected their movements and the walls seemed to hum faintly with energy. Tom had never seen anything like it. He reached out to touch one of the walls and it felt warm, almost alive. Nira noticed and did not speak. She only observed, letting him explore. "This palace is incredible," Tom said. "It feels different from anywhere I have been." "It is designed to harmonize with life," Nira explained. Every surface, every light, every sound is part of a system that protects and nurtures. Humans have technology, but it is rigid. Our technology adapts. Tom nodded, fascinated. He had seen advanced human machines, but this was different. It felt almost like the palace itself was conscious. He realized that living among Aryans would mean more than learning new skills. It would mean understanding a whole new way of thinking. They entered a garden inside the palace. Plants grew in shapes and colors that Tom had never seen. Some glowed faintly, others shifted their forms slowly. Small creatures floated above the flowers, hovering without wings. The air smelled fresh, sweet, and clean. Tom felt his tension begin to ease. The beauty and calm of the garden made the strange new world feel less frightening. Nira knelt by one of the glowing plants and touched it gently. Tom watched her, amazed by her familiarity with everything around her. She seemed part of the palace, part of the garden, part of this world. These plants respond to life around them, Nira said. They can sense emotions, energy, and intention. They react to kindness and curiosity. Tom stepped closer. Like they can tell how we feel? Yes, Nira said. Humans are strong in ways we admire. Your emotions are powerful. These plants can sense them. They will respond to yours if you are careful. Tom reached out slowly. The plant's leaves moved toward him, curling gently around his hand without touching. He felt a strange warmth, a connection he could not explain. Nira watched him closely. You see, she said, humans have a strength that even our systems respect. Your curiosity, your courage, your ability to act under uncertainty, these are gifts. Tom felt a surge of pride. For the first time, he realized that being human was not a weakness in this strange world. He had strengths that even aliens could admire. They spent hours walking through the palace, observing gardens, halls, and chambers. Nira explained Aryan culture in simple terms. She did not lecture. She told stories. Stories of exploration, of survival on distant planets, of challenges faced by her people. Tom listened, fascinated. He had read about Aryans in books, but hearing it from Nira with emotion and pride in her voice made it real. You humans face challenges too, Nira said at one point. You survive in harsh conditions, adapt to change, and protect your communities. That is why you were chosen. You have qualities that can help both our peoples. Tom felt a mix of surprise and respect. He had not thought of himself as special. He had only tried to live a normal life. Yet Nira's words made him see that humans, with all their flaws and limitations, had value that could not be measured by technology or power alone. Lunch was served in a room filled with soft light and floating trays. The food was unfamiliar but delicious. Nira demonstrated how to eat carefully, using small gestures that matched Aryan tradition. Tom tried to follow, sometimes clumsily. She laughed softly, not mockingly, but in a way that made him feel at ease. You do not need to be perfect, she said. Effort is what matters. You are learning, and learning is what creates trust. After the meal, they returned to the garden. Nira encouraged Tom to interact with the plants again. She guided his hands, showing him how to move gently, how to focus his thoughts. Tom felt a strange sense of connection, as if he were speaking without words. The plants responded more openly, shifting and glowing around him. You see, Nira said, humans have the ability to connect not just with each other, but with life itself. Your senses, your emotions, your choices, they influence everything around you. That is why you are important. Tom looked at her, amazed. He had never thought of himself this way. He had never thought that simple human qualities could have power, and yet Nira's calm confidence and gentle guidance made it real. The afternoon passed quickly. Tom found himself asking questions about Nira's world. He asked about her childhood, her training, and her people's way of thinking. She answered openly, never hiding her pride, never belittling human knowledge. Tom realized that learning from her was not just about understanding aliens. It was about discovering new ways to see the universe, new ways to act, and new ways to think. As the sun began to set, the palace shimmered in shades of orange and gold. Tom and Nira walked to a balcony overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking. Humans and Aryans moved through the streets below, their lives intertwined in ways both simple and complex. Tom realized that the world was bigger than he had ever imagined. Do you see what I mean? Nira asked softly. Our peoples can learn from each other. Humans are strong and we are strong. Together we can achieve more than either of us could alone. Tom nodded. He felt a new sense of responsibility. He was part of this union not just for ceremony, but for a purpose greater than himself. He understood that this partnership was about trust, courage, and mutual respect. "I think I understand," he said. "It is not just about tradition or rules. It is about working together, learning from each other." Nira smiled. "Exactly. And tonight you will see more. You will experience abilities and insights you have never known. But for now, you have taken the first step. You have observed, listened, and learned. That is the beginning of understanding." Tom felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He did not know what the night would bring. He only knew that it would be a continuation of what he had already begun, discovering the strength within himself and the power of connection with another being. As the stars began to appear in the sky, Tom felt a quiet confidence growing inside him. He realized that the day had changed him. He had started to see the value of humans not just to themselves but to the galaxy. He had started to see the value of Nira, not just as an alien bride but as a teacher, an ally, and perhaps even a friend. The evening promised new lessons, new challenges, and new surprises. Tom knew that he was not fully ready for all that lay ahead, but he also knew that he would face it with courage. For the first time, he felt that being human was not a limitation. It was a strength, one that even an alien could respect. And as he stood beside Nira, watching the lights of Valora twinkle below, he understood that their journey together was only beginning. It would be difficult, unpredictable, and full of wonder, but it would also reveal the extraordinary potential of humans and aliens working side by side. Tom took a deep breath. The palace hummed softly around him. He felt alive, aware, and ready. Tonight would bring more lessons, and he would meet them as he had met today, with curiosity, courage, and the quiet strength of being human. The night had settled over the palace like a soft blanket. Stars twinkled in the sky, reflecting faintly on the smooth surfaces of the halls and windows. Tom had spent the day walking with Nira, observing the palace and learning about her people. He felt a sense of calm he had never known, but he also felt a quiet nervousness. Tonight he would truly begin to understand what it meant to share a life with an alien. Nira had asked him to meet her in the main chamber. When he entered, he was struck by the soft, shimmering light that seemed to fill the room from the walls themselves. The energy of the palace was stronger here. He could feel it as a gentle vibration in the air. Nira stood in the center of the room. Her posture was relaxed, yet there was a quiet strength in the way she held herself. She did not speak immediately. Instead, she motioned for Tom to sit on a cushion opposite her. He obeyed, feeling the tension in his shoulders loosen slightly. "Tonight, Tom," Nira said softly, "you will see more than you have ever seen before. You will feel things you did not know existed, but you must remain calm and open. Fear will only block understanding." Tom nodded. He trusted her. Somehow he knew that Nira's words were sincere. She had shown him kindness and patience all day. He had begun to see the value in learning from her, in observing the ways of the Aryans. Nira moved closer and placed her hands lightly on the floor between them. The glow from the walls seemed to intensify around her. Tom watched as her eyes closed and her breathing became steady and measured. A faint hum filled the room, vibrating through the floor and into Tom's chest. "What is this?" he asked quietly, unsure whether to speak. "This is a connection exercise," Nira replied. "It allows us to sense each other's emotions and intentions more clearly. You do not need to do anything except remain present." Tom felt a mixture of curiosity and nervousness. He had never experienced anything like this. He tried to focus as Nira had instructed, and slowly he began to notice a warmth in the air. It was subtle, almost like a gentle breeze brushing against his skin. Then he felt something extraordinary. A faint image appeared in his mind, not clear, but enough to make him gasp. It was Nira's perspective, her thoughts reaching out in a way he could sense but not fully understand. He realized that she could feel his hesitation, his nervousness, and his curiosity all at once. "You can sense me," Nira said, opening her eyes slightly. "And I can sense you. Do not be afraid. This is not dangerous. It is how Aryans learn and connect. It is also how we teach trust." Tom tried to calm his racing thoughts. He had always trusted people physically, but this was something deeper. He could feel Nira's calm presence inside his mind like a steady flame. Slowly, he began to respond, focusing on his own feelings of curiosity and wonder. He allowed himself to trust the connection. The sensation was remarkable. It was as if his mind were no longer separate from hers, but a part of a shared space. He could sense her focus, her patience, and her interest in understanding him. He realized that she was showing him a new way to communicate, one that did not rely on words or gestures. "Humans have great potential," Nira said, her voice gentle but firm. "Your emotions, your thoughts, your courage, they are powerful. You often do not realize it, but you influence everything around you with your choices." Tom's heart raced. He felt a surge of pride and astonishment. He had never thought of himself as important in this way, and yet standing here with Nira, feeling the connection between them, he could sense that she was telling the truth. Humans were capable of more than they believed. For hours they continued the exercise. Tom learned to remain aware of his own feelings while sensing hers. He discovered that simple thoughts could ripple outward, affecting the energy in the room. He felt more alive than he ever had, and he began to understand why humans had been chosen for this union. Their emotions, their creativity, and their courage were unique strengths. Finally, Nira broke the connection. She smiled and the hum in the room faded. Tom blinked, trying to return to normal perception. He felt different somehow, stronger and more aware. "You did well," Nira said. "Most humans would be afraid or confused, but you were open, and that openness is a gift." Tom felt a warm sense of accomplishment. I did not know it could feel like that." "I felt you, and I felt something more. I felt capable." "That is because you are capable," Nira said. "Humans are strong in ways we admire. Courage, determination, adaptability. These are qualities that even we, with our technology and abilities, value highly." Tom realized that she was not praising him simply for his actions. She was showing him that being human mattered in a galaxy filled with extraordinary beings. He felt a quiet pride. For the first time, he truly understood what it meant to be human among aliens. The night continued. Nira led Tom to a small chamber filled with holographic projections of the galaxy. Stars, planets, and fleets of ships floated in the air, glowing softly. She demonstrated how the Aryans navigated and protected their worlds using both technology and mental focus. Tom watched in awe. "You see," Nira said, "even with all our power, we need courage and intuition. Technology is not enough. That is why humans are valuable. You have instincts, creativity, and the ability to adapt quickly. These are things we cannot replicate perfectly." Tom listened intently. He realized that the human mind, the ability to think under pressure and make choices, could be just as important as advanced technology. He began to see that Nira's admiration was not empty praise. She saw something in humans that even advanced aliens could respect. After some time, Nira suggested they return to the main chamber. Tom noticed a soft glow from her hands, a display of controlled energy. She explained that Aryans could manipulate certain energies to sense, protect, or communicate. Humans could not do the same, but their resilience and ingenuity often compensated for the lack of such powers. Tom felt inspired. He understood that strength came in many forms. Nira had powers he could not imagine, but he had something equally important: human determination, curiosity, and the ability to act under uncertainty. He realized that this was why humans had survived in harsh conditions, explored dangerous planets, and adapted to countless challenges. The night grew quieter. The palace hummed gently around them. Tom felt a growing respect for Nira, not just for her powers, but for her patience, intelligence, and wisdom. He understood that the connection they shared was more than just a lesson. It was a foundation of trust essential for both their peoples. "Do you feel it?" Nira asked. "The bond we are creating?" Tom nodded slowly. "Yes, I feel it. And I feel stronger because of it. I understand now that humans are capable of more than I thought," Nira smiled. "And that understanding is the first step. The next step will test more than your mind. It will test your courage, your adaptability, and your willingness to act. You must be ready for that." Tom's chest tightened slightly. He realized that this was only the beginning. Nira had shown him abilities and knowledge he could barely comprehend. There would be challenges ahead that demanded more than understanding. They would demand action, ingenuity, and bravery, yet he also felt excitement. He was learning, growing, and discovering his own strengths. For the first time, he felt fully aware of his potential. The connection with Nira had shown him that humans could stand among the stars not as weak observers, but as capable participants, able to influence events and inspire change. The palace seemed to breathe around them, filled with quiet energy. Tom understood that his journey with Nira would not be simple. It would be full of surprises, dangers, and discoveries, but he also knew that with courage, curiosity, and trust he could meet whatever lay ahead. As the first hints of dawn began to appear, Tom felt a sense of calm determination. He had faced the unknown tonight, connected with someone far beyond his previous understanding, and discovered the strength within himself. He realized that being human was not a limitation, it was a gift, one that could match even the extraordinary abilities of aliens. And as he prepared to rest, Tom understood that the galaxy was vast, full of challenges, and filled with possibilities. The strange connection he had experienced with Nira was only the beginning. Together they could face what came next, combining human courage with Aryan wisdom to create something powerful and enduring. Tom closed his eyes, ready to embrace whatever the night and future would bring. He felt alive, aware, and capable, ready to learn, ready to act, and ready to prove the strength of humans in a galaxy that would soon see what they could achieve. The night was quiet when an alarm echoed through the palace. Tom was awakened by a sharp vibration that ran through the floors. The walls glowed red and an urgent hum filled the air. He sat up quickly, heart racing, and looked toward the source. Nira was already moving with precision, her eyes glowing brighter than before. "Stay calm, Tom," she said firmly. "This is a threat. You must observe first, then act." Tom followed her gaze toward the city. Outside the palace, bright lights moved erratically. Flying vehicles circled overhead, and distant explosions shook the ground. An unknown enemy had launched an attack. Tom felt fear claw at his chest, but he remembered Nira's words from earlier. Courage and focus were as important as strength. Nira led him to the central command chamber. Holographic screens projected the city, surrounding areas, and the positions of both human and Aryan forces. Nira's fingers moved swiftly, adjusting the displays, analyzing the enemy's movements. Tom watched closely, trying to absorb everything. "They are attempting to breach the city's defenses," Nira said. "We need to respond quickly. You must trust yourself and your instincts. Your people have survived countless challenges because of ingenuity and adaptability. This is your moment," Tom nodded. He felt a surge of determination. Fear was present, but it did not dominate him. He realized that the lessons of the day and the connection with Nira had prepared him to act under pressure. He would have to combine human resourcefulness with Nira's extraordinary abilities. Nira extended her hands toward a projection of the city. Energy flowed from her fingertips, creating protective shields over key areas. Tom noticed how precise and controlled her actions were. She was not just using power. She was thinking strategically, predicting the enemy's next moves. "Watch carefully, Tom," she instructed. "You must understand how to respond to threats with both your mind and your actions." Tom observed the enemy ships. They moved in patterns designed to confuse the defenses. Their technology was advanced, but not perfect. He began to analyze their formation, recalling lessons from simulations he had studied on human strategy. He saw a weakness in the left flank of the attackers. "There," he said, pointing at the holographic map. "They are exposing a section near the eastern bridge. If we focus our defenses there, we can prevent them from reaching the city center." Nira turned to him, eyes sharp. "Good observation, now act. You must coordinate with our forces and ensure that humans and Aryans work together seamlessly." Tom's hands shook slightly, but he steadied them. He reached out to the control interface and began directing human forces, giving clear instructions on where to position defenses and how to respond to enemy maneuvers. His mind raced, calculating possibilities, predicting movements, and adapting to changes in real time. Nira worked alongside him, her energy shields protecting vulnerable areas and her eyes scanning for new threats. Tom realized that this was more than a battle. It was a test of coordination, strategy, and trust. Humans and Aryans were stronger together, but only if they could act as one. Suddenly, a squadron of enemy ships broke through a secondary barrier. Tom noticed them heading toward a civilian district. He quickly relayed instructions to the human pilots, directing them to intercept. At the same time, Nira extended a protective field around the civilians, her power shimmering like a living shield. "You are doing well, Tom," she said, her voice calm but urgent. "Trust your instincts. Adapt as needed." Tom felt a sense of clarity. He realized that fear could not guide him. Only observation, calculation, and quick thinking would ensure survival. He coordinated the defenses, adjusted positions as enemy ships shifted, and gave encouragement to human pilots over the comm system. The battle raged for what felt like hours, though Tom knew it was less. Explosions lit the sky, energy shields flared, and the hum of ships filled the city. Through it all, Tom remained focused. He could sense Nira's guidance, but he also trusted his own decisions. The human ingenuity he had doubted moments before became a crucial asset. At one point, an enemy ship broke past a shield near the palace. Tom froze for a second, fear creeping in, but Nira placed her hand lightly on his arm, sending a calm wave of energy through him. Her presence reminded him of the connection they had built. He felt steadiness return. "Now, Tom," Nira said softly, "act with confidence. You have everything you need." Tom analyzed the enemy ship and saw a weak point near its rear engines. He gave precise instructions to a human strike team. The ship exploded in a controlled manner, sending debris harmlessly away from the city. Relief washed over him, but there was no time to celebrate. More threats appeared and he stayed focused. Hours passed and the battle began to shift. The enemy's formations became less coordinated. Tom and Nira worked in tandem, combining human adaptability with Aryan power. Slowly, they regained control of the city's defenses. Human forces learned from his instructions. Aryan energy shields protected critical areas, and together they pushed the enemy back. Finally, the last of the attackers retreated. The city was safe, though signs of the battle remained. Buildings were damaged, streets were scorched, and debris littered the ground. Tom felt exhausted, but he also felt pride. Humans and Aryans had faced a dangerous threat and emerged victorious because of teamwork, courage, and ingenuity. Nira turned to him, her expression calm but proud. "You did well, Tom. Your courage and quick thinking made a difference. Humans are not just capable of survival. You can lead, inspire, and protect." Tom felt a swell of emotion. He had doubted himself earlier in the day. He had feared that being human in a galaxy of powerful aliens was a weakness, but tonight he had proven otherwise. He had contributed in a meaningful way, combining instinct and intelligence to save lives. The aftermath of the battle was quiet. Tom and Nira walked through the palace gardens, observing the city from above. Fires had been extinguished, citizens were safe, and the human and Aryan forces were beginning repairs. Tom noticed the subtle ways Nira's energy helped heal and stabilize damaged areas. She did not flaunt her power, but she used it with precision and care. "You have shown me much tonight," Tom said. "Not just about aliens or technology, but about courage, strategy, and working together." "I feel different," Nira smiled. "And you should. Humans are more than you realize. You possess strengths that complement ours. Tonight was proof of that. Trust in yourself, and others will trust you as well." Tom looked at her, admiration growing. He realized that the forced marriage, the rituals, and the lessons of the day had prepared him for this moment. He had faced danger, made decisions under pressure, and learned to rely on both his human instincts and Nira's guidance. He felt a quiet pride in being human. The palace was calm again, bathed in soft light. Tom and Nira stood together, looking out at the city. The stars above reflected in the calm waters of the fountains, creating a serene scene. Tom understood that this night would be remembered not just as a battle, but as a moment that revealed the true potential of humans and Aryans working together. "You have learned much tonight," Nira said softly, "and there is more to come. Challenges will test you further, but you now know the strength of humans. You now know the power of connection and trust." Tom nodded. "I understand, and I feel ready. I will continue to learn, adapt, and act. I know that humans have value, and I see now that we can truly stand alongside your people." Nira reached out, placing a hand on his shoulder. "That is all I ask. Courage, wisdom, and trust. You have shown them tonight. Never forget what you are capable of." Tom felt a sense of calm and purpose. The battle had been difficult, frightening, and exhausting, yet it had also revealed something extraordinary. Humans were strong in ways that even advanced aliens could respect. Their determination, ingenuity, and courage were vital in a galaxy filled with uncertainty. As they returned to the palace chambers, Tom realized that his journey was far from over. More challenges awaited, more lessons to be learned, and more moments that would test both his mind and heart. But tonight had proven something fundamental. Humans were not weak. They were capable, resourceful, and resilient. And alongside Nira, Tom felt that humans could rise to meet any challenge. They could face the unknown, overcome danger, and inspire change. He felt a quiet sense of triumph, knowing that the battle had revealed not just survival but potential. Tom closed his eyes that night, exhausted but alive. He knew that more tests lay ahead. He knew that the galaxy was vast and filled with dangers, but he also knew that he had courage, ingenuity, and the strength of being human. And with Nira by his side, he knew that nothing could stop them from facing the future together. The morning after the battle was quiet. The palace garden shimmered in soft sunlight, and the city below was alive with movement. Humans and Aryans worked side by side, repairing buildings, clearing debris, and ensuring that life returned to normal. Tom stood on the balcony, looking down at the bustling streets. He felt a deep sense of pride. The city had survived the attack, and he had played a role in protecting it. Nira joined him quietly, her steps soundless on the balcony floor. She looked at the city with a calm expression, then turned her gaze to Tom. "You did well," she said softly. "Not just in the battle, but in understanding the importance of unity, trust, and courage. Tonight, the humans have proven their strength in ways that will be remembered." Tom nodded, feeling a mix of relief and humility. "I only did what I thought was right. I could not have done it without you. Your guidance and abilities, they made all the difference," Nira smiled faintly. "Yes, my abilities are useful, but courage, ingenuity, and determination, these are qualities humans have in abundance. That is why you were chosen for this union. Not only to represent your people, but to show that humans can face any challenge with skill and heart." Tom felt a warmth in his chest. He had doubted himself so many times before, yet tonight he had learned the truth of Nira's words. Humans were capable. They could survive, adapt, and inspire. The connection between them, built over shared experiences, rituals, and the battle, had revealed something extraordinary. The palace doors opened, and an elder approached. "Tom, Nira," the elder said, his voice calm but firm. "Your actions have not only saved lives, but have strengthened the bond between our peoples. This union, once seen as a formality, has proven to be a symbol of what can be achieved when humans and Aryans work together." Tom glanced at Nira. She nodded slightly, a silent agreement that this moment mattered. They had both contributed, each in their own way, and together they had shown the power of cooperation. The day passed with celebrations and discussions. Leaders from both human and Aryan communities acknowledged the courage and intelligence displayed during the attack. Tom was invited to speak, and he felt nervous at first. Yet when he addressed the crowd, he spoke simply and honestly. "Humans have always faced challenges," he said. "We adapt, we learn, and we protect each other. We are not perfect, but we have strengths that matter. Tonight we showed that humans and Aryans can achieve great things together. That is the future we must build, side by side, trusting one another and respecting each other's strengths." The crowd responded with applause, and Tom realized that his words were more than ceremonial. They reflected the truth of what had happened. Humans had contributed not just by following instructions, but by thinking, acting, and using their unique abilities. They had shown that courage and intelligence mattered as much as technology or energy powers. After the ceremony, Tom and Nira walked through the palace gardens. The air was calm, and the soft glow of plants reflected in their eyes. Tom realized that he felt a bond with Nira that went beyond ceremony. She was not just an alien guide or a partner in duty. She was a teacher, a friend, and a symbol of what humans and Aryans could achieve together. "You know," Tom said quietly, "I never thought humans could be seen this way. We often doubt ourselves, but tonight proved that we have value, not just to ourselves but to the galaxy." Nira nodded. "That is the truth. Humans are strong in ways we admire. Your courage, creativity, and adaptability cannot be measured by machines or powers. They are qualities that endure. That is why your people survive challenges that would defeat others." Tom felt a sense of purpose growing inside him. He realized that being human was not a limitation. It was a gift. And now, standing beside Nira, he understood that he could use this gift to create something greater than himself. As the day passed, Nira guided Tom through new exercises, teaching him about Aryan energy, strategy, and observation. He learned how to combine human ingenuity with her powers in subtle ways. Together they practiced simulations of defense, problem-solving, and communication. Tom felt his confidence grow with each step. "What you are learning is not just skill," Nira said. "It is awareness. Humans have potential beyond what you often realize. You can sense danger, adapt to change, and make decisions that shape outcomes. That is strength. Tom listened, absorbing her words. He realized that humans often underestimated themselves. He had doubted his abilities, his courage, and his value. But now, through experience and connection with Nira, he understood that humans were capable of extraordinary things. As evening approached, they returned to the balcony overlooking the city. Lights shimmered across streets and buildings, reflecting the calm after the storm. Tom felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. The city was safe, the people were alive, and the bond between humans and Aryans had grown stronger. Nira turned to him. This night, and the days to come, will require both trust and action. But you have proven that humans can rise to meet challenges. You have shown what courage, intelligence, and determination can achieve. Tom nodded. I understand now. Humans are not just survivors. We are capable, and we can contribute in ways even advanced beings cannot fully replicate. I am proud to be human. Nira smiled, her expression softening. And I am proud to see it. Your people's qualities complement ours. Together we can build a future where humans and Aryans face the galaxy side by side, stronger than ever. Tom felt a sense of hope for the first time in his life. The journey had been difficult, full of uncertainty and fear. Yet it had revealed the extraordinary potential of humans and the value of trust, courage, and understanding. He knew that the path ahead would not always be easy, but he was ready to face it with Nira by his side. That night, Tom and Nira sat together, observing the stars above. The sky was clear, filled with constellations that humans and Aryans had both studied, each with their own names and meanings. Tom realized that the universe was vast, but he no longer felt small or insignificant. He felt connected, to the stars, to the city below, and to Nira. You have grown a great deal in a short time, Nira said softly. The experiences of these days have revealed your true potential. Remember this. The galaxy will test you again, but you are ready. Tom smiled, a quiet determination in his eyes. I understand. I will continue to learn, adapt, and act. I will show what humans are capable of, not just for myself, but for everyone. The night passed peacefully. Tom reflected on all that had happened, the ceremony, the lessons, the connection with Nira, and the battle. He realized that each moment had shaped him, teaching him courage, observation, and the value of trust. He understood that humans could stand alongside even the most advanced aliens, contributing in ways unique to their species. By morning, Tom felt renewed. The city below was alive with movement, and humans and Aryans continued their work together. He knew that challenges would come again, but he also knew that humans could rise to meet them. Courage, intelligence, and determination were gifts that could shape the future. Nira approached him, her eyes reflecting pride and respect. The union we began as duty has become a partnership. You have learned, acted, and shown the strength of humans. Together we can face anything the galaxy presents. Tom nodded, feeling a deep sense of purpose. I understand, and I am ready to face the future, side by side with you and my people. We are capable, and we will prove it. The palace gardens glowed softly as the sun rose higher, casting light across the city. Tom realized that he had grown stronger, not just in skill, but in understanding and confidence. Humans were capable of extraordinary things. They could adapt, learn, and inspire. And now, standing beside Nira, he knew that humans and Aryans could create a future built on trust, courage, and cooperation. As they walked together through the palace, Tom felt a quiet pride. The journey that had begun as a forced union had transformed into something meaningful. He had faced fear, learned new ways of thinking, and discovered the strength within himself and his people. Nira looked at him, her expression calm and serene. This is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast and challenges will continue. But you are ready. Humans are ready. And together, we will achieve greatness. Tom took a deep breath, feeling the weight and the promise of her words. He realized that being human was not a limitation, but a gift. Courage, ingenuity, and determination were his strengths, and now he understood how to use them in the galaxy. As the day began, Tom felt alive, aware, and ready. He knew that the challenges ahead would test him further, but he was no longer afraid. He had learned the value of trust, connection, and cooperation. He had discovered the strength of humans, and as he stood beside Nira looking at the city and the stars beyond, Tom understood that their journey together would shape the future. Humans and Aryans side by side could face any challenge, achieve any goal, and build a world where courage, wisdom, and understanding were the true measure of power. For the first time, Tom felt the full meaning of their union. It was not just ceremony, duty, or alliance. It was a symbol of trust, courage, and the extraordinary potential of humans, and he was ready to embrace it fully, with Nira by his side facing the galaxy together.